Hello and happy Wednesday. Welcome to your mini training. My name is Amber Meyer, if we haven't met personally, and I am a soul alignment coach, and I'm really passionate about helping people get into alignment with their soul purpose and their soul gifts. So that's what I love to do and work with people on. And today's topic for our mini training is about energy body basics. So I've heard from a lot of you that you want to learn a lot more about energy healing. And so I thought we would start with energy body basics because it's really the foundation of information that is helpful to understand how energy healing works. So we're going to start there. Oh, hey Jeannie. Hey Tony. Hey Brenda. Good to see you all. Thanks for hopping on and saying hi. So we have an energy body that is made up of some different parts and components that when working well, flow and balance and help us feel good and connected to ourselves, our bodies, spirit. And when we have issues with our energy body, this is oftentimes where we have some emotional challenges or physical ailments or feel really exhausted. So what it comes down to is that taking care of your energy body is absolutely critical to your overall wellness, for your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, your spiritual health. And the other thing that is really critical about being able to take really good care of your energy body is I know a lot of you are on the intuitive path and are really striving to be able to dig deeper into your intuitive gifts. And having really great energy hygiene is what I like to call it, can really help you get in better touch with your gifts as well. So it's really important overall and something to keep a focus on. So I know a lot of people focus a lot on their physical bodies and make sure that the foods that you put in your body are healthy, that you exercise, and other folks maybe really pay close attention to their mental health. But this is another component that when you're looking at your health overall, all of these things really matter. And so we want to make sure that we take your energy body health into consideration as well. Hi, Chastity. Hey, Erin. Good to see you. So what I want to talk a little bit about today is just, again, we're really getting back to the basics. So some of you may know quite a bit about this, but if you have any questions as we go, please do pop them in the comments too. I want to talk about your aura, your chakras, and your meridians, and really just how these impact your health and how they work together as well. So so we're going to start with some basics, and then what I want to do in some of our future conversations is start to talk about more of the specifics of your energy body. So we'll talk about some of the specific chakras and different things that you can do to keep those energy centers healthy, or maybe what some of the challenges would be if you do have some issues with those energy centers. So we'll get more specific as we go. So the first thing I want to talk about is the aura. And so of course your aura is really the energy that surrounds you. So has anyone here ever experienced when you can just like feel someone walks into the room, like you can't hear anything, you didn't see anything, but yet you just have this, like, you look up and suddenly someone's there? Let me know in the comments. Or maybe you've experienced the opposite. You walk into a room and you didn't make any noise and suddenly it feels like everyone's turning and staring at you. Let me know if you've experienced this. I'm guessing you probably experienced both. And this is your aura. So your aura, which is also often called the subtle body, is energy, or really an electromagnetic field around your physical body. And this is what allows you to read someone else's energy or like their vibe. So sometimes you might get like, oh, I like the vibe of this person, or I don't, or that sort of thing. This is what someone is, what you're reading off of their aura, or this energy body that is around them. And so if we went into more details, we could talk about how the aura actually has 7 different layers, and these all correspond with your 7 main chakras within your body too, but we're not going to go into that detail. But your aura really can be held really tightly around your body, or it can extend out many, many feet. And some people actually can consciously decide to hold their aura in or extend it out as you choose, and that can be an interesting thing to learn. But typically, unhealthy or weaker auras tend to be smaller, and they tend to have more dull or darker colors in them. And healthier auras then are typically bigger and brighter. And so most people, I would say, their aura is at least 2 feet out from their body, kind of between 2 and 3 feet. But in general, like if your aura, like if you put your arms out, if your aura goes out to your fingertips, that would be a very healthy aura. And some people just naturally have bigger energy, or there's something going on in their life that their aura is going to be much bigger. And so that might be a person or yourself when you walk into a room and people are just like, what's happening, even though you maybe didn't make a sound or anything at all. And so you can learn how to intuitively see and feel auras, which is super cool. Oh, Connie, I see you're here now. And Lori, oh, hi, Lori. Good to see you both, too. So you can also have pictures taken of your auras. Has anyone ever had pictures taken of their aura? I have like a whole series of these. You can get like little Polaroid ones. Trying to get the glare off of these. You can, so I love getting these Polaroid ones and then getting a reading based off the Polaroid. But you can also, there's like different programs that will take your picture and run a whole report based on your energy too. There's all sorts of cool technology out there now. Because one of the cool things about auras is that it's really finally getting really backed up by science. So, talking about auras and chakras, even just a few years ago, people were like, that's a bunch of woo-woo stuff, and now there's so much science to back it up and being able to really read on a scientific level all the information that's in the electromagnetic field. So I think it's super cool. Hey Georgia, thanks for joining too. So if you haven't had an aura photo, I would suggest it. I think it's really fun. I like to do them every once in a while and just see how it changes, because it can depend on how you're feeling that day, or maybe different healing work that you're doing over time. I think it's something that's pretty fun to check the progress on. And so if you go to someone who is trained in being able to read the aura, like myself, if you go to like a healing session, what I can do in a reading is be able to see all sorts of different things about your aura. What are the main colors? What's the energy flow? How big or small is it? How dark or bright is it? Are there kind of like holes in your aura? Is there stuck energy? Are there cords to others? So you can gain all sorts of really helpful information about how a person is feeling and what they're going through based on being able to really witness these things intuitively. And so, for example, I see a lot of people who are really empathic. And very oftentimes I'll see people who are really, really empathic as having a lot of red energy around them. And a lot of times this is really bright energy, red energy, and the red often signifies just this deep feeling, because empaths tend to be very clairsentient, which means that they receive a lot of information through feeling. So they're deep feelers and are really sensitive to information that's around them. But a lot of times what happens to empaths is that because they're processing so much energy and they're feeling so much, a lot of times the energy gets stuck, whether it's their own feelings or other people's energy. And so a lot of times I'll end up seeing a lot of kind of brown, murky, like brownish red murky energy around an empath, just because they have not been able to clear as much energy as what they've been taking in. Another thing that's pretty common that I see is a lot of times I'll see a lot of bright yellow energy around someone's head, and that usually shows me like, wow, this person is a thinker. They have a lot of like mental, intellectual thinking energy. They probably have a hard time getting out of their head, when they have that much energy going on. So these are just a few things that you can learn through the aura. So next I want to talk about the chakras. And so most folks here, I'm assuming you all are familiar with that there's 7 main chakras in the body. Most people are familiar with that. But did you know that there's actually closer to about 140 chakras in your body? It's just a lot of them are a lot smaller and a lot more minor. And so and then a lot of times the bigger main chakras have some control over those chakras. So a lot of times we just focus on those main ones, but we actually have chakras that are outside of our body too. Starting with in the ground, we have the Earth Star chakra, and then we have chakras above the crown chakra at the top of our head. A number of them that go all the way up to source energy too, and those are really fun ones to explore, especially when you're wanting to do and contact some like really high frequency energy, like in the Akashic records, for example. Being able to access and really open up those chakras can help you access your guides and your past lives, your Akashic records, the universal law of truth, all sorts of really fun stuff there. And so that's one thing I do is teach my students how to access those upper chakras to be able to really open up their intuition too. And so chakras, by definition, are energy centers in the body that help you regulate all its processes. Anything from physical processes like organ function and your immune system to emotions and your mental health. And so this really comes with the idea that everything is energy. And so if you end up manifesting some sort of physical disease, typically there's something energetic or emotional underneath that's been an issue for a while. So it's kind of like if this emotional issue is happening, it's almost like your body's trying to get your attention. It's almost like it's waving like a little white flag saying, hey, pay attention to me. This is something that needs healing. But then if we ignore it, it's like that white flag gets bigger and bigger, and then it physically manifests into some sort of disease. And so it's really important for us to focus on what might be challenging for us mentally or emotionally, to be able to keep ourselves healthy and be able to heal that before it manifests itself in some sort of physical way. And so the word chakra itself is derived from a Sanskrit word that it translates to wheel. So that gets to kind of that, the energy centers. And they're basically like little energy vortexes of spinning energy. And so, like I mentioned, there's 7 main chakras that we tend to focus on, but there's actually about 140 altogether. And the 7 main chakras really run along your whole spine. And so it starts with your root chakra at the base of your tailbone, and then they run all the way up to the top of your head on your crown for your crown chakra. And so each chakra is going to have its own unique energy and vibration, and it's also going to interact and connect with various neurological, physiological, and emotional systems that are in your body. And so what happens is that chakras can become blocked because of stress or some emotional or physical problems. And then if the body system can't flow freely, then it's likely that some sort of problem is going to occur. Maybe you get really exhausted and you feel anxious, or maybe you get sick, or maybe you have problems with your thyroid. It could be a whole variety of different things, but different physical issues are associated with different chakras. So if you have a physical issue that you're having a challenge with, you would want to take a peek at what chakra is associated with that, and then what does that chakra govern. And so, for example, with that thyroid example, say if I had thyroid disease, I would then want to look at the throat chakra, because the throat chakra oversees the thyroid glands and really most things that are within the area of your neck and your throat. And then I'd want to see like, well, what typically causes issues in these areas. And so like the throat chakra, for example, is all about expression. And so if you had some sort of major issue going on with your thyroid, or say you had a consistent sore throat or something like that, I would look at what is it that you're not expressing or communicating, and taking a look at that. And then the more that you're able to authentically express yourself, the more of the physical issues are going to go away as you work on that. Hey Cheryl, hey Jane, thanks for joining. And so really the consequence of that irregular energy flow can result in physical illness or discomfort, or a sense of being mentally or emotionally out of balance. And like I mentioned, disease first shows up as emotions or mental challenges, and then when they're ignored, they manifest in your body as some sort of illness or disease. And what I mentioned early on in our session today too is that having a healthy energy body and chakras really impacts your intuitive gifts and your ability to feel connected to them. And so blocked chakras and an unhealthy energy body is a really common block for people who are having challenges being able to feel like they can really connect to their intuition. So you want your chakras to be open, you want them to be in balance with each other, and you want them to have energy continuously flowing through them. And what I have seen is that chakras tend to either be under functioning, balanced, or over functioning. And so a lot of times if you have one chakra that's really under functioning, you're probably going to have a different chakra somewhere else that's over functioning. So it's almost like it's like taking the grunt of the work for the other chakra because it's not working very well. And most people have a mix of all three. Most people don't walk around with their chakras perfectly balanced all the time, not even healers. It's something that we have to consistently work on. And so when we have some of these energy blocks in our system, it can basically, it almost like creates like bottlenecks of energy, like where it's maybe flowing really fast in some areas, it's totally stopped in others, and then it just ends up creating challenges for you. And so you want your chakras, just like your aura, to have bright, bold colors. And because really your aura is a reflection of your chakras as your energy centers. And so you can also learn how to intuitively view and feel your entire energy body, including your chakras, your aura, and your meridians, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And it's super helpful to help you understand what might need healing. And as a healer, it's super helpful to be able to understand that too, and partners really well with all sorts of different modalities. I learned to start doing it when I first was doing Reiki. You know, first when I was doing Reiki, I just channeled the healing. You know, I might feel different energy sensations, but it was so much more helpful for me when I was able to intuitively view all the different chakras and see what was going on with them. And then it really helped me understand what the clients were going through at that time too. And I'd like to teach my students how to intuitively view chakras too. And it's a really fun exercise just to learn how to develop your intuition as well, because it gives you something really fun to focus on. And so energy healing techniques like Reiki, energy healing, any sort of like Reiki, energy healing, healing touch, anything like that, theta healing, other chakra opening exercises, what those do is that they help open up your chakras. They help clear out any stuck, unneeded energy in them. And it can help balance them with your other chakras. And just really the idea is that you want energy to be able to flow into your energy centers and flow out. Flow in, flow out, flow in, flow out. And instead of flowing in, getting stuck here, leaving something behind, that sort of thing. And so what this does is it just really allows energy to flow through your body freely, which then brings you health and healing in a peaceful mind overall. So then what are meridians? I think this one's probably not talked about quite as much as aura and chakras, which are really commonly known now. Meridians are basically pathways in your body where energy flows between your energy centers. And so like I like to think of meridians as like energy highways, or almost like if you think about your vascular system in your body, how blood delivers oxygen to all of your cells and all of your organs. That's kind of like what meridians do. They're what the energy moves through between all your different chakras. So again, energy highway. And there can be challenges and blocks within your meridians too. And I'm no expert in acupuncture, but my understanding of acupuncture is that actually works a lot with these meridians. It opens up these pathways so the energy can flow through you much easier. And so you want to make sure that you keep these clear so you can keep your chakras working in harmony with each other and making sure that they're communicating. So that's one of the things I see pretty often in a healing session is that there might be like this big disconnect between a couple chakras, and so they're just not able to work together in harmony together because it's almost like they're not communicating. So then focusing on opening up that energy channel so they can start working in harmony with each other again can be a really healing experience for people. So let's see, Eric, hey, you jumped in too. Good to see you. So those are the three main components I wanted to be able to share with you today. Just some basics about your aura, your chakra, your meridians, how they work together, how they impact your emotional and your physical and your spiritual health, and really how well you can connect to your intuitive gifts. Like I mentioned, I wanted to start with these real basics, and then over the next few weeks, I want to be able to dig deeper into some more of the specific topics. So the next mini training that I have is actually on the importance of grounding in your root chakra. So we'll dive in there and talk about why that is so important, and then in future sessions, we'll talk more specifically about some other areas in your energy body and your chakras as well. So a lot of folks that can do energy healing, really what they're focused on is being able to open up the energy flow in your body. And so, like I've mentioned in this training, the whole point like of a healthy energy body is energy flows in, it flows out. It's there to support you. It doesn't get stuck. It doesn't cause you challenges. But unfortunately, that's just not necessarily how it works. Next session I'll talk more about this, but really how the angels have shown me your energy body is they've given me the metaphor of a kitchen sink. So basically your energy body is like a kitchen sink. The idea with a kitchen sink is that you should turn the faucet on, clean water runs in, clean water runs out, you still have a clean sink. And so that's how your energy body is supposed to work. Energy comes in, it flows out, you still have a clean energy body. But we all know, like with the kitchen sink, we start to throw all sorts of stuff in the sink that isn't water. We throw food bits, stuff that's not water, all sorts of stuff. The next thing you know, the drain gets clogged up and the sink starts to back up with dirty water. And then next thing you know is you have a clogged up sink full of dirty, icky water. And that basically is what happens to our energy body too, is like all this, stress and traumas and all these different things get thrown in. It blocks us up. The drain gets clogged, and then what happens is then we get backed up with kind of old, stuck, icky energy that doesn't make us feel good. And sometimes that energy is in your aura. Sometimes it gets stuck in like certain chakras and creates a bottleneck. But that's basically how it works, and that energy healers are really trying to open up that flow of energy so you can get back to harmony, get back to peace. And so when I do healing sessions, I invite in your angels and your highest guides. I really do like a whole energy reading for you, looking at what I can see in your aura, what I can see going on with your chakras, and then use the angels and Reiki and theta healing and some other modalities that I'm trained in to be able to clear that energy and bring your energy body back into harmony. And then the whole time bringing you any messages that your angels have for you as well about what you're going through. So taking care of your energy body is incredibly important. I definitely suggest learning as much as you can about how to take care of your energy body. There's lots of things you can do on your own that you don't have to go to a healer for. It's one of those things where it's one of the that you just kind of need to keep up on it, that you don't realize it's a problem until it's a problem. Oh, hey, Darlene. I miss you, Darlene. And so it's one of those things where it's like, it's not a problem until it's a problem. And I've done this to myself so many times where, I'll get into like a really good routine where I'll do energy healing every morning, and then I'll get busy and I won't do it. And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. And then like a week or two later, suddenly it's like, oh my God, I am not fine. So it kind of sneaks up on you. And so it's something that is just like good energy maintenance that you want to keep up on, because you're probably not going to notice it building up until it's a problem. So there's lots of stuff that you can do on your own. I'll be sharing just a few simple tricks and techniques that you can do in some of these next mini trainings. But I definitely suggest going to a healer on occasion too, just to get like a nice clear out. I try to go and see a different healer usually about once a month, and then kind of keep up on the rest on myself, just because I think there's when you work with someone outside of yourself, sometimes you get a different perspective, and different things can come up that way. So that's at least what works really well for me, is having a mix of daily practice for myself and then going and seeing someone about on a monthly basis to help me clear out. Cheryl, that you say that's what you do too. Yeah, because like you're not totally relying on someone else to keep your energy body healthy, but yet you're not completely relying on yourself. We all have blind spots, and so going to someone else can help with that. The other thing is if you hadn't seen my post, I actually have a little flash sale going on for my angel healing sessions specifically just through this week. I had added that early this week just because I feel like there's just so much heavy energy out there. There's just so many things happening with, there was a really powerful new moon. We have Chiron in retrograde, all sorts of different astrological stuff happening. I see Tony on here. She could add in a lot more about this. She's a expert in astrology. I am not. So I just wanted to be able to put that out there in case anyone is feeling really heavy in their energy and are needing to get a little more clear, maybe feeling a little stuck. I do have that going on. The sale just goes through the end of this week. You don't have to actually have your appointment this week, but you'd have to book this week. So if you have any questions on that, reach out to me. Otherwise, I look forward to chatting with you all in a couple weeks about the importance of grounding and keeping your root chakra open, which is, I don't know, if you're going to focus on one chakra, for most people, the root chakra is the one you got to focus on, which is why I want to start there. Tony says I totally can go on. Not sure if you want me to start. Yeah, maybe Tony, if you have time this week, you could do a little video for the group. I know you have so much wisdom to share in that area. Well, that is what I have to share with you today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I would be happy to answer them. I'll see you all later. Enjoy your evening.